I am an absolute sucker for nostalgia, looking back on the past, and that is not always a good thing. You know, when we look back on the past like that, I was talking to a friend about this, about how I know that nostalgia is a trap. It's the whole meaning, you know, in the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, where Lot and his wife are running from the city, and God says, don't look back. And it says his wife looked back and turned into a pillar of salt. That's kind of a warning against nostalgia, is what that is. And I was talking to a friend recently about this, about why is nostalgia a trap? Why is it bad? And kind of the answer that we arrived at is because when you look back, you tend to forget the bad stuff. You romanticize it. You know, you look back and you only remember the good things. And it's true. You know, I used to ride the subway in New York all the time, and they used to put these poems up on the wall of the train. And I remember one of them. This is something I'll probably remember for the rest of my life. It was a poet had written about heaven, and how she believed that heaven was like living in the past, not what it's like to actually live in the past, but what it's like to remember living in the past. How, you know, even if we do think of the hard times, we still romanticize them a lot, and we compare them to our present situation. And it always seems like the past was a simpler time, and it really wasn't. You know, we were usually just as stressed out or anxious or whatever it is you were feeling back then. Yeah, Begner says we tend to rewrite the past. That too. Yeah, Time Travel Kitty says nostalgia can keep you in the past. Exactly. And it's like that saying, there's a reason we're not supposed to be looking back all the time. There's a reason the windshield in your car is so much bigger than the rearview mirror, is because we are supposed to be spending most of our time looking forward, not looking back into the past.